In our first episode, we uncovered how Joseph Kennedy built an empire from within and out of the shadows through Prohibition, Hollywood, and the mob. But this story goes far deeper than one man. It's not just about JFK's father. In order to understand JFK's assassination and, more importantly, why he was assassinated, you need to understand that it's about a structure that was rising behind the scenes, as the public saw one America and the power played out in another. In this episode, we expose the rise of the five families, the Jewish mob, and the birth of a deep state that would shape every election, every policy, and every war that followed. This is the story of how America's enemies weren't always foreign. Sometimes they were wearing a badge or sitting in Congress.
Shh, no one's listening.
Let's begin. The mob wasn't content with just gambling and movies. They wanted power, and well, they got it. They began installing their own men in politics. Let's look at a few names, just for a moment. Pat Marcy, a Democratic power broker in Illinois, was once a hitman for Capone. He ended up becoming the political gatekeeper of Chicago for decades. Fred Roti, a Chicago alderman, was a made man in the outfit, confirmed by federal prosecutors. Joseph Diamond Joe Esposito, once Chicago's most powerful bootlegger, also held political office until his murder on Capone's orders. John C. Montana, a high-ranking member of the Buffalo Mob, was also elected to the city's Common Council. Enoch Nucky Johnson, the inspiration for Boardwalk Empire, ran Atlantic City politics while also controlling its bootlegging empire. These weren't isolated incidents. This was systemic. Mob bosses didn't just buy politicians. They became politicians themselves, and some of their descendants still hold office today. Take Thomas D'Alessandro Jr., the father of Nancy Pelosi. He served as a congressman and later as the mayor of Baltimore. According to FBI files, he had close relationships with known mob figures, including Benny Trotta Magliano. He was investigated in the early 60s, but never charged. Nancy Pelosi has never been implicated in any wrongdoing, other than alleged insider trading, but this has never been proven. But her father's connections raise important questions. How deep did the mob reach? How many legacies are built on shadows? Even Kellyanne Conway, former advisor to President Trump, has admitted her grandfather, Jimmy the Brute Di Natale, was tied to the Philadelphia mob. Organized crime didn't die, it evolved. While the mob moved into politics and entertainment, another force was rising in secret: the Central Intelligence Agency. Founded after World War II, the CIA began launching programs that, if done by another country, would be called crimes against humanity. Operation Paperclip brought over Nazi scientists. Project Shamrock surveilled Americans without warrants. Bluebird, Artichoke, and MK Ultra experimented with mind control. Operation Mockingbird embedded spies inside American media. These weren't conspiracy theories. They were declassified decades later. And they show one thing clearly. By the 1950s, the United States had a government inside the government. A deep state. One that didn't answer to voters. One that saw the press as a tool. One that didn't hesitate to break laws in the name of national security. And one that we still feel to this day, as was shown through the Twitter files in 2022. Proving that the CIA and other government agencies are still using their power and influence to control government and the people. Even trying to make protocols for deplatforming future presidents. As the mob infiltrated the visible power structure, the CIA infiltrated everything else. After World War II, American life began to shift. Millions of soldiers came home. The economy boomed. Suburbia rose. But beneath the surface, old powers were reorganizing. Joseph Kennedy continued to expand his reach through Wall Street, Hollywood, and foreign policy circles. The mob adapted too. They moved deeper into labor unions, shipping ports, and international arms deals that would involve casinos in Cuba, arms deals with Israel, and controlling significant influence for United States elections. And the CIA? They began training foreign operatives, toppling governments, weaponizing psychology. The world had changed, and a shadow war had begun. The mob, the CIA, the press, the presidency. By the late 1950s, these spheres weren't separate. They were overlapping, intertwined, mutually protected. In our next episode, we explore how John F. Kennedy, the son of a kingmaker, walked into the middle of this machine, and why trying to dismantle it may have sealed his fate. Don't miss what comes next. Subscribe, question everything, and follow the connections. Because the truth isn't in your history books. It's hidden in plain sight, and no one is listening.
No one's listening. Like and subscribe.